What is up, you guys? It's Fallout What If You're here, and today we're gonna do part 3 to What If Deku was the god of freaking war. And I'm probably gonna do some other ones, and I do have some special ones coming along the way, but I'm gonna do probably a Naruto one next. If you guys didn't hear me, I said it. Naruto. What if Naruto was... Actually, I don't know. I'm just gonna, I really don't know on this one. But I'm gonna probably say, what if Deku... what if Naruto was adopted by Kakashi? Because I feel like this time around, I feel like there should be one with Kakashi in it. And I know that other people have made it. So I'm gonna try to find out some ways where I can change how it works. Alright? And oh sheesh. Man, I forgot to turn on my piece. Give me a second here. Anyway, if none of you guys heard what I said over the past 1 minute and 24 seconds, 27, 28, 29. Anyway, so I said probably I'm gonna do a Naruto one, and also have it be about Kakashi adopting him, and also I know that other people made it, so I'm gonna see how they did it, so that way I can try to do it differently, so that I won't be told, "Oh, hey, you're copying him." Hey, this is the family of the What If. We all treat each other with respect, and respect we shall give. If you guys want to I'm gonna say this: if any one of you guys just automatically start saying, "Oh, bro, hey, you're trash, I'm really not gonna care. I actually know I'm trash at times. Well, it's because I want to have the rest of you guys happy, you know? But anyway. And also, I'm also gonna do some other Deku what ifs, but I want to also do what if Naruto was this, and what if Goku was this. So I'm trying to make this all turn out better. And if I'm failing you guys, then I understand. I'll do my hardest, because I love doing this kind of stuff. And there's somebody who I like that's telling me that I'm actually doing good. And it's giving me the strength to actually just keep going. It's embarrassing to say at times, but it's what it is at times. So I'm not going to give up. So let's go on to the story. There's going to be some few changes around the whole Deku squad. Actually, before I even begin, number one, they're gonna become stronger, 5 times stronger than their previous counterparts in the canon version of this. In the anime. All of them. But only in the Deku squad. Not the freaking, what's it called? Not the freaking, how would I say this? Not all in Class 1A is going to be as strong. They're probably going to be more motivated to be stronger. So yeah, they will be probably 2 times stronger than their previous, than how the anime is. But I'm not giving them Deku freaking power. So here's what's gonna happen. They train. They're training, and they're also using a lot of stuff that Deku let the... How do I say this? Deku's letting them use some of his weapons and some of his attachments. Denki or Kaminari saw these boots because Deku now trained enough on his own, like during the whole freaking 7th grade, on his own, with also Kirishima, Kaminari, Bakugo, the whole gang. They trained, but I think, but the guys in the thing, they trained a little bit more. And what's called Ashido and freaking Kataki, they didn't train at they didn't train until like a little bit later. So Deku got much more stronger, and the rest of them got a little bit more stronger. Well, this is how this is where everything's changing, because Deku now has the strength to summon any of the weapons he needs to, which means he has the freaking gauntlets, the Lion gauntlets, the Zeus gauntlets, and also the Hades gauntlets. Or I forgot which gauntlets were the dark ones, but I think it's Hades. Yeah, Bakugo and Kataki uses the Lion gauntlets, but they have only one each. All right, so I'm not gonna give them like all. I'm not gonna give them all the whole Deku squad all lion gauntlets, but they're using gauntlets nonetheless. And what's it called? Kirishima is going to use the Zeus gauntlets, because I think he would use the ones that look like fists. And with also his hardening quirk, he has like a defense and now actually an attack, which is much more better. And the gauntlets are going to be a bit more smaller, because I guess Deku would somehow like make sure it can become much more like weak, like not weaker, but, or yeah, probably weaker, but small enough so like where it won't be so bulky and heavy. And I understand what you guys are probably gonna say, like, why would you give them all like weapons and armors to use? And this is why. Deku, the only weapons any of them cannot even use are the Blades of Chaos, because it's like a contract slash, what's it called? They're the only weapons that Deku can use, like that only he can use, because I think nobody, even when he was tied up in Ascension, or in the God of War, yeah, in God of War Ascension, none of them could actually take off the chain. Only he could, and he can wield his power. Which, as far as I can tell, nobody's ever like just like taken them off of him. I think besides Zeus and some other people, but like they were god tier people, as far as I remember. So, what else? Zero is going to use the Leviathan axe, because he likes the way how when he calls it, well, this is what happens. He throws it. He accidentally throws it, like, because it slipped out of his hands, and he tries to call it, or not call it. He says, "Oh man, freak," because he threw it like, let's say, he threw it far. Not far, but he threw it where he had to like go and get it like from a couple of meters. And Deku said, "Oh, all you have to do is stick out your hand and it will automatically come to you." Or you have to like somehow concentrate into calling it. And he's all like, "Oh, well, all right." And he's concentrating hard until he feels it, and he's like, "Hey, I think it's working here. Oh, jeez, this is like some what's called next level freaking, next level what's called weapons right here. I forgot, this is next level technology over here." And Deku says, "Well, it's not technology, it's more like magic." It's like, technology, magic, who cares, As long as you can destroy, as long as you can fight using it, I think it doesn't matter. So he calls it, and then it comes, but he wasn't prepared because he thought it was probably gonna slowly come to him. No, it freaking was it kept spinning around, and he thought it was gonna chop off his head, but it landed to his axe perfect. His axe. It landed onto his hand perfectly, and he flew a couple of feet because he wasn't ready for that. So he's thinking to himself, this could actually work if I test it out, if I start playing around with it. And Commodore is all like, wait, what am I going to use? I want to use something too. Come on. You just can't leave me out of this. You know, are we friends? And Deku's all like, oh, he's somewhat of a lightning type. And he's pretty good on his feet moving around. And that's when he thinks, give him the blade of not the blades of chaos. Give him Hermes' feet, which one of you guys said on the comments, give to Deku, but I can't like imagine Deku running like super fast to stuff because he'll use their he can call them into his like he can summon his weapons and stuff at will since he's already done it over there at the freaking other world. But now they have to. But now his squad has to try to do it, which all of them are thinking to themselves, "We don't know how to do that." And Deku's all like, "That's why you have me to teach you. It's not that hard. Everybody has a bit of magic inside of them. Nobody thinks that just because what's called they don't use magic. Magic isn't real. I mean, quirks weren't a thing back then." And now it is, but nobody can actually use magic as much. He's saying that probably 0.1% of the population on Earth can probably use a bit of magic. Which are like, oh, okay, well, that's new. So if you guys don't know what I'm giving them, I got all this right here. Freaking Denki's gonna have the one right here, which it's gonna go all the way up to right there. I'm not gonna give him one that's all the way right there. I don't even know what that is, but yeah, he's gonna just have it like have that, which he's gonna be uncomfortable for a while because he doesn't know how to do the whole Hermes how to summon Hermes shoes yet. Or he's probably going to have it across his hero outfit. But anyway, this is what I'm going to give Ashido. I thought about giving her this right here. The Spear and Shield of Ares. Which as far as I remember, I think that Kratos' brother, which... To be honest, I forgot who he was. But yeah, I think Ashido would use something like this because she's mostly a splasher, and she would also use that. So she'll find a way how to use her quirk. She'll be able to summon them and summon them and desummon. Oh, I don't know how to say that. She can call on them and banish them again. And this is what I'm gonna give Bakugo and Bakugo and freaking Katsuki. Well, Katsuki and Katsuki, but these are gonna be a bit more thinner, or at least smaller, because these things will probably be heavy and they won't be able to pick it up, and this will be dumb to have in the very end. And I know I have these over. I forgot where I got it right now, but yeah, right here. Kirishima is gonna have the one that looks like a fist because it looks more manly, or all of them look actually manly. But I'm not gonna give them any of the Hades one because I don't think any of them will use it, but probably Deku would. It doesn't matter because he can summon and resummon all of them. And right here, I forgot what this was. Yeah, I don't know what I was supposed to do on this picture here. But anyway. Did I miss anybody? Sero? I got Sero, Kirishima, Kaminari, and freaking Bakugo, or Katsuki and Kataki. Am I missing anybody? No, I think that's it right there. So the whole squad has weapons now that they can use, which they feel like it's actually a perfect use for them. And he's going... Hold on. He's trained with them, just like a little bit on physically, but now he's going to put them through hell. Meaning, they're going to learn how to wield these weapons as if it was a part of their own bodies. And even though Denki doesn't have a weapon, he only has boots or like Hermes shoes or footwear, whatever you want to call it. Deku is going to train him into using lightning perfectly. Because if you don't know, in God of War Ascension, he has the ability to use his swords and use them as lightning. So instead of just having freaking instead of that, he's gonna give Denki the power of like wielding lightning, which means that he's gonna have to work hard enough to where he can use lightning and not fry his brain. Which I think Denki's gonna learn how to use it like full Cowling, because if he doesn't like overcharge his brain, which is the thing that he's always using all the time, he won't be a brain dead Pikachu. Yeah, I'm doing this, people. And I understand you guys probably think that's kind of dumb about giving them weapons and such. Like, they're not gods or anything, so why would they be able to use them? Well, here's the thing. The only things that were made besides the freaking footwear were by the only things that were a curse were the Blades of Chaos, which was called Kratos used only like as his primary weapon, and that wrapped around him. He's never actually just like took them off until like he probably did something with them. I don't really remember. But the only things that they can't use is that. The Spear and Shield, anybody can technically use that. The freaking Frost Troll Axe. Nope, it wasn't made by the gods or anything, so it's like, The shield as well, it was just made by the two, I forgot what they were. Let's call them midgets. Anyway. Dwarves, yeah. They were only made by the dwarves. And some of the other weapons were made by some like really good freaking what's called blacksmiths. So it's not like they're all just like hard to use. It's like all of them are hard to use on their own way. But, they don't have like god like level power where they can't wield any of them. And besides that, Deku's giving them to them, letting them use it. They're still a part of Deku, but they're his family, so he's allowing that. Which, by the way, their house is much more bigger, like big enough for them to at least each have their own room. And because since he works in a lumber, lumber, they probably learned how to like do. They grab some wood that nobody uses, and did construction. Like probably learned from YouTube. I don't know. Like they probably searched up construction DUIs, or how to do construction in a couple of seconds. And then somebody comes out. Hi, hold on. Hi, I'm Corey, and today we're gonna be doing construction. You know, something like that. I think I got that from Family Guy. That's not the point. The point is, they're gonna use weapons, and now that they can do that, they learned how to summon them and what's called put them back into wherever they're from. And Deku can summon them himself and use like any of their powers, because it's technically a part of like let's say this, each one of them has a bank, like bank accounts. Deku's a bank, and they're all bank accounts. So he's able to take their money and give them money. That's how it basically is with weapons and secret like powers, or not secret powers, but like the equipment used. Basically, just the Hermes wings. Hermes sandals or footwear, whatever. So yeah, they trained for a whole 2 years. Which, like, I think they're giving like 6 months off every. Nah, that wouldn't work because of freaking of 8th grade. Well, here's the thing: they trained all the time after school. Sometimes during the gym, they like do push-ups and like sit-ups and all that stuff. And here's the thing: what's called Kirishima, he's not gonna have red hair. You know why? Because Deku has given him a much more like better encouragement, and he's so much more manlier than freaking Red Riot Crimson Riot into his eyes. He's going to have his own like personality. He's not going to become just like somebody who looks at people manly. Yeah. He's going to be they're all going to have different names. And I feel like giving them names from the gods, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know all the gods' names, but I know Kirishima, I'm going to give him Hercules. Alright, we're back. I kind of messed up. I forgot I went to do something, and now I really did forget. I actually don't remember what I was supposed to like say right now, but all I remember is Deku letting them use his powers or his weapons and stuff, and he can use them as well. But it's like he can also like how do I say this? If they're using them, and he calls the weapon, like say he needs the freaking what if he needs the shield and spear? Then Ashido won't be able to use the shield and spear until Deku's done with it. Basically, he can use them at any time, any freaking time. But he doesn't have all of his strength yet. Like, he's not able to lift up the world. Not yet. He's only able to freaking how would I say this? He's only able to what's it called? I think he can match All Might's strength by now, and with training as well. All of them are in freaking like better condition. Their quirks are better. Like freaking Denki can go 50% full cal, like his version of full cal. Sero can like use tape for much more longer, and he's much more like he has much more muscle on him. And Kirishima, he doesn't actually see everything as like manly anymore, like super manly. He mostly has that. Well, he does see everything manly, but he's much more like much more like brave, because he said it himself that he only thinks irrationally and just charges ahead, but it's not actual true courage in his mind. He's just like just going in. He's just going in the danger without thinking too much, which could actually mess like him up if he ever fights anybody. So yeah, pretty much it. And some of you guys said put Ashido with Kirishima. I'm actually going with a different route. All right, I'm actually going with a much more different route. But for the people who know what I'm gonna do, good on you. You know what? Pat yourself on the back. But anyway, it's the last day of school. The gang is in the gang is in the class, and everybody looks at Deku now much more differently. They see him as like somebody to be feared. They see him as somebody who could literally like destroy all of them. But they don't actually fear him as much because he's nice to them, like he's always been. And if anybody tries to attack him or his friends, then they'll just defend themselves. But they won't harbor any hatred. Because if you guys saw in the previous, in probably part 1, or no. Yeah, I think part 1 or part 2, the whole fight between them. Yeah, that's like right there. That's when like you're probably going to die, or at the very least, if you're lucky, or not even lucky, you can probably have your arms ripped off of your sockets. But the best case scenario, you die, so you don't have to go through all that pain. And pretty much, yeah, that's it right there on that part. So now, Bakugo doesn't say what he says in canon, but he does say, all you guys was called with your quirks. None of you guys probably trained a day in your life besides me and Deku, which he sees him more as a brother now than like a freaking like best friend. Like, because of all that training, they like, how would I say this? They the bonds of all of them became much more stronger, like chains. And Deku thinks this in his mind, and he's like, chains. And he thinks about the first time he's ever got the Blades of Chaos and how painful that felt. But now he's thinking to himself, I'm going to become a hero. And yeah, the teacher throws up the papers saying you guys want to be in UA. And Kaminari and Sarah are like talking to among themselves like, yeah, only a few of us can say that they fought and trained with God. Well, with a god. And Sarah's like, oh, actually, yeah, you actually have a point right there. And this is when all of them leave, and Katsuki and Katsuki are going to the arcade because, yeah, that's one of their places to go. And Deku goes with freaking Ashido, and they said they're gonna get something at the convenience store, and they say, oh, and the Bakugos say, all right, we'll meet you there, and they're all like, oh yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, they go one way and they go the other, and let's see, Kaminari, Sero, and Kirishima are probably gonna go with the Bakugos because there's nothing pretty much anything better to do besides playing the games, and they're pretty much like living well, like because of all their training and all the and them training as well in the lumberjack business, they push themselves to like better heights. So Sero's like really good with like the freaking axe. He can call on to it. He can use its power of ice, which at first he was kind of like, ah man, this is like giving him frostbite. But now with training and also like learning how to use the tapes to swing the axe like from a long distance, and learning how to like use it with precision, it's safe to say that he's already freaking like he's more likely than not he's already mastered it to a point. It's just he needs to like learn how to keep at it with using like its abilities like freaking ice slash or wind something. You know what I mean. With Kaminari, it's much more different. It's him learning how to like punch very fast with full cowling, and even with Hermes feet or Hermes like sandals, he's able to like go even faster. So basically, it's kind of like having Flash, which Hermes shoes are even faster, as some people say, faster than his than his speed. And let's say this: Kaminari learns how to use the Chidori, which it's kind of like, but then at the same time, it's a lightning type of attack, which I think some people might like. Not only that, I think he can master it since he's also trained. Like, none of them are slouches by any way. They're just better at using their own kind of techniques and stuff, and the weapons that they've been given to by Deku. But they train with some of the weapons, like they swap some weapons, and it's not easy to use because it's mostly not the weapons they like. But they learn well a bit more, to the point where it's like, okay, so I got the hang of this. We're good. And yeah, Kirishima, he's learning. He's learned how to box, which is kind of actually like up his alley, since he's using the gauntlets like boxing gloves. That's basically it. Mina is really good with the shield and spear, but sometimes it's kind of hard. It's sometimes like hard to use in like close range. So then she just switches to using the shield. And yeah, that's pretty much like a good like combination between using also her acid, which she also probably dips the freaking shield in acid, or not the shield, the freaking spear. Which, if you guys are thinking, wait, wouldn't that disintegrate it because it's acid? No, it won't, because let's say that since the shield and spear were made from the same like metals and enchantments as the freaking Blades of Chaos, it prevents them from actually like getting their weapons destroyed. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, now that we got into that whole situation, oh, and the Bakugos, they've learned how to use the gauntlets, you know. It's basically it right there. So anyway, Deku and Mina are walking to the store, and Deku looks at her horn, which hasn't grown just yet. Well, it's basically, it needs a little bit more time before it sheds, which, like I said before, she has to shed it. Just snapping it off will just make her bleed. And he's thinking to himself, how are you with your horn? And she says, it's alright. I don't think about it too much. And she tells him, do I look weird with only one horn? And Deku holds her tight, what's called while in the tunnel, and he just kisses her on the forehead and says, there's nothing about you that would weird me out. And she blushes, and Deku says, besides, your personality is weird enough as it is. And, you know, she just says, baka, 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 and this is when the freaking sludge villain comes out and says, oh, look at that. These two little lovebirds. Well, I hope you had your virginity taken, because I'm going to be taking your bodies for a spin. But I don't know who to pick. Would I want the effeminate one? All these, look pretty? Or do I want the mean, tough-looking one? What to choose? This is actually like a buffet. But I have to hurry up because All Might is chasing me. And All Might is like probably 5 minutes away. And Deku says, well, today I wanted to have a normal, peaceful day without actually training. But it looks like I have to keep going and breaking people. And he runs up to the sludge villain and punches him. And the sludge villain sludge villain says, you idiot. Don't you see my body's made out of slime? Which also means I can't feel any of your punches. And he grabs onto freaking Deku. And Ashido is like kind of nervous, but she's thinking to herself, even though it's kind of reckless, he won't die. He's not gonna die, especially from somebody as weak as him. And sludge villain's looking at Ashido and say, oh, what? Are you scared in terror? Are you so scared that you can't even speak a word? That I'm actually just killing your boyfriend right now? And she says, listen here, sludge villain. He's not just my boyfriend. He's my future husband. And during the arcade, during the arcade, you can see Katsuki just like looking, a little angry and irritated. And she says, I don't know why, but I want to kill somebody right now. And why is it Ashido all of a sudden? And, you know, she's feeling like, she's like thinking in her mind, just kill her. End her life. Just do it. Just do it now. And Bakugo's all like, yeah, I know. When she turns like this, don't even touch her. Don't look at her. Just back away as you slowly push your friend. Which is Kaminari, and he's all like, oh, yeah, I got the boots. He just dips, you know? But anyway, All all you well, back to the whole sludge villain attack. Was the sludge villain is like laughing maniacally. I could say maniacally really good, but I can't say some other. Oh man, never mind. Anyway, Deku inside is thinking to himself, "He can't control me because I have this power, but I have enough. I have had enough games for right now." And he starts to use his Spartan rage, and the sludge villain is feeling like very freaking, like he's feeling the pain. It's like bubbling. The sludge is like bubbling from the outside, and the sludge villain is like, ow, ow, what the heck is going on? Dang it. Why is this, what's this burning sensation? Wait, is this part of his quirk? And Ashido's all like, you could say that, but to be honest, it's just like eating spicy food. It'll go down one day. But for right now, you'll go down. And, not Kratos, Deku just freaking, like, bursts. Like, his aura just bursts, like, wide open. How do I say it? It's like it's like the moment he explodes, and the sludge villain's, like, all around the freaking, like, all around the freaking, walls. And you can just see Deku very mad, and like probably unable to control it. But then Ashido comes in and walks in front of him, and he holds his face and says, there, come on. There's nothing to get angry about. You already beat him." Which I can tell you right now, Deku, it's gonna take a long time, to control its rage, because even Kratos couldn't control all this rage. And Deku's just a child. Which, if you guys, well, he's 14, he's 14. And if you guys played God of War, Atreus was probably like 13 or 12. I think probably 14. I really don't know. But he was old enough, like, even him using his Spartan rage just for a second, it made him sick. And he was related to the God of War. Deku is somebody who's like, well, he has his blood now, so, but it will be hard for him to use like just a bit of it and not get sick. But Deku can use it, but it's much more harder for him to control the rage. It's kind of like Broly when Chilai has to like freaking calm him down. It's like that. If you guys don't know who Broly is, you should be ashamed. Shame on you all. There is no hope for you in this world, peasants. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm actually just kidding. I love you all. Don't worry about that. I'm sorry. I actually apologize for this. But anyway, Deku calms down, and Ashido is thinking, I'm actually pretty getting used to this. Well, hold on. Hold on. I'm getting kind of used to this whole freaking Deku getting mad. It's much more easier for her to like just stop him, because she's much more calming in situations like this. So it's easy because she has like a fun personality type that just goes around, and Deku like vibes with her on situations like that. So he calms down and says, thanks, Ashido. And All Might comes in saying, I am here. Which Deku's all like, oh, it's All Might. hello. And All Might's like, uh, citizens, where is the sludge villain? I've been chasing him for quite a while, and I couldn't find him. And Deku says, I kind of had to, like, fight him. Yeah, I had to defend myself. And All Might sees that he's actually, like, he's right there and sees, like, the sludge villain, and he says, kid, did you do all this? And he says, yeah, technically, yes. And All Might's impressed. And he says, young man, what is your quirk? And he says, well, it's a long story short, but I have enhanced strength and enhanced speed, and I can burst into anger at times. He's trying to, like, not say he's the god of war. That's basically what he's trying to do. And All Might's kind of taken aback by this and says, wait a minute, you have 3 quirks? And he's like thinking to himself, there's no way that somebody can have 3 quirks. But he doesn't think that far ahead, because he's all like, oh sheesh, my timer's running out. And Deku says, do you need help cleaning this place with the sludge? And Deku asks him that, and All Might says, yes, young, what's your name? And he says, my name is Izuku Midoriya. And and All Might's like, well, young Midoriya, I would be happy if you can help me. But he thinks to himself, 3 quirks. It's impossible, but doesn't Endeavor have a son who can use 2 quirks? Probably overthinking it. Which, if none of you guys know already, he's thinking that All for One gave him the quirks. Like, because this is not like 2 quirks. It's a half and half quirk, but nobody's actually have 3 quirks. Which nobody knows. In total, if he was to find them in quirks, he'd probably have like 13 quirks in total. But nobody knows that. Anyway, he says goodbye, and Deku says goodbye, and he runs away. But he drops the freaking not the All for One thing. He drops the sludge villain. And guess who kicks it? You guessed it, people. It's Bakugo and freaking Katsuki. Well, they started kicking it, like, all around until sludge villain came out. And 3, 2, 1. The sludge villain comes out and absorbs freaking Katsuki and Katsuki. So both of them. And all you just hear in a couple of seconds is boom, bam, kaboom. I don't know how these things work. But Deku's all like, there's only one person who'll be able to do that. 2 if you count my other girlfriend. Anyway, let's go. And this is when what's called Deku summons the Boot of Hermes, because he has speed too. He can go in a 100-meter dash or 100 feet dash, whatever it's called, and under like in probably 2 seconds. But using the Boots of Hermes, he can go probably 1,000 miles per second. Which, yeah, it's kind of it's kind of like, actually, well, what I'm trying to say is this is something that is plausible because it's the Boot of Hermes. like the literal god of like speed, if you want to call it that. So anyway, he runs and he gets there like probably 5 seconds. So he sees what's happening. He's there much more early, and there's like the group of like heroes like trying to like stop what's happening. And Deku's all like, "Look, there's no need for any of you to be like here. You guys have to move away." And Deku says, "Wait a minute, these are my friends, and I want to at least be there and help them out." And the guy, I forgot what his name was, but the guy with like the big hands says, "Look, kid, we don't have time for one of your games." Or, "Look, citizen," or look, kid, we don't have time for these games. We have to be here, and we have to try to make sure that the villain is there, or like make sure the villain doesn't escape." But then Deku gets a little irritated and says, "Well, what about the two people right there?" Which Katsuki and Katsuki are exploding. They're exploding and causing so much more damage than freaking Bakugo did. So that means they have like probably 3 minutes in total before they get choked by freaking sludge. And the guy right there is saying, the hero is saying, "Look, you're not allowed to be here unless you have a hero license, or unless you're not going to use a quirk, unless you're going to save them without using a quirk, then you technically have no business being right here. So move along." And Deku gets mad, and he runs up. He runs straight towards the fire. Which, yes, there's fire, because if it was just Bakugo and he was there earlier, there would be like minimal damage at that moment and not a lot of fire. But because it's Katsuki and Katsuki both freaking going and using like their like explosions, which I forgot to mention this, but Katsuki and Katsuki have much more different quirks. Even though they can explode, Katsuki can use her explosions to the point where it can be all around her body, but it takes a while since like she has to like learn how to use it, which she's already done. And Katsuki can sweat much more, even though their quirks revolve around like sweat. So yeah, it's kind of like a win-win. But anyway, Deku runs over there, and he grabs a piece of wood that's lit on fire, and he throws it onto the sludge villain's eyes, and he's like yelling in pain. "Ah, crap, what the heck is wrong with you, kid?" Which, I know that's not really a good voice over, but that's the best I can do. Anyway, he grabs Katsuki and says, push your explosions all the way to put your hands on the back, or like put your hands and push your way and blast your way off of him." Which their hand is one in one direction, their hand is in the other direction behind them. So they're pushing by using their quirks. They're using their explosions to push themselves out, while Deku's pulling them out. So it's like a push-pull situation. And they're both out. And freaking, how would I say this? Deku is starting to what's called run without using the boots. He's running towards the villain, and he has like some water bottles that are on the floor, because it was like in the middle of the alleyway, so there's gonna be trash. And he scoops the freaking sludge villain up, the villain up, which he's telling Bakugo and Katsuki to like blast some of the sludge off of him. and Deku is like freaking collecting it. So it's like they're both attacking him, and the sludge villain is like freaking going out. Well, some of the sludge is coming off of him, and Deku's scooping it up. So he's actually effectively scooping them up while he's at the weakest point, and they keep doing this over and over until the sludge villain is basically all in the bottles. And with that, the heroes go to scold Deku, and Deku says, "Look, I'm not going to be here and say that what I did was 100% right due to your law. But if you guys were going to let these two kids die on your watch, then I might as well have just committed a crime." What he's basically trying to say is that if he was standing there not doing anything, he might as well have just been the villain himself and choked them out. Because he thinks to himself, if they're all just standing by, if they're standing like by and not doing anything, they might as well have the gun and shoot them themselves, because they're not doing anything to actually help them. And they say, well, we don't have quirks that can actually help in the situation. And he says, I didn't even use my quirk. And yet, I was able to do all this by using their quirks. And they're all like irritated and getting mad. And Deku says, I'm out of here. Which they can't really hold him because he didn't technically use his quirk, so he didn't do nothing wrong besides helping them and doing a little vigilante work. But even then, he didn't actually like freaking like he wasn't hunting crime. He was just basically right there at that moment. So Deku leaves, and Katsuki, Ashido, Sero, Kirishima, and Kirishima, Kaminari, Sero, Ashido, Bakugo, and Katsuki. Which I'm just gonna say Katsuki instead of the Bakugos, or instead of like Katsuki, I'm just gonna say Bakugo because everybody knows him as Bakugo. And yeah, that's pretty much it right there. So, you know what? I'm gonna actually go for another like 10 more minutes. And probably do another one afterwards. No, I'm gonna do the Naruto one probably afterwards. I don't know if I'm probably still awake. So, Deku goes and All Might sees this. He's in a skinny form, but he sees all this. And he's like, well, he didn't even use his quirks. But he knows all these people. He helped these two, meaning that they're their friends. And they just followed him. They were okay. Only he did that. Basically thinking to himself, how did he not use his quirk? And not only that, how come he told them what to do? Him knowing that these quirks are not even Deku's, but Deku told them what to do, because they heard what Deku was saying. And he's thinking to himself, not only that, he just told them what to do, and they got off without that much of a scratch. Not only that, he told them what to do, basically saying that he ordered them to do something, and they didn't run off. They just listened to what this dude said. And it's like, only one person had the power, will have that like kind of charismatic stuff. And he's like, because he's now thinking about like All for One, and he's thinking to himself, 3 quirks, charismatic. 2 people like listened to him and didn't run away. Which it's like he's like just only he's thinking about all for one, like to the point where he's not using that much logic. Like if you have like a quirk that can actually beat somebody, somebody's telling you how to use it, the quirk. Like yeah, you're gonna probably listen to them because they know what they're probably talking about. Even though it's not their quirk, they probably know how to use a quirk just by looking at it. There are people who are known as geniuses, after all, which, yeah, Deku is actually. But he goes, Ashido. Well, the whole gang is walking with Deku, and Deku is just right there, holding freaking Ashido and Katsuki's hand, and freaking Kaminari and Sero thinks to himself, oh man, he is so lucky. They're like looking behind him like, oh, this, even though he's a god of war, it's like, do you have to have 2 women at the same time, really? Which, yeah, they're still good. They're still with Deku. And what's cool, after that, All Might comes after and talks to him and says, young Midoriya, I need to talk to you in private. And says, oh, well, hey, All Might. Well, technically can't do that, but because these are my family. This is my family. And whatever you have to tell me, you can tell them. Besides, they won't tell anybody. Not even a soul. Unless I tell them to. And All Might sees, like, just, what's it called? Sero, Kaminari, Kirishima. I'm sorry. Oh man, I forgot it's 5 o'clock. Oh wow, I'm actually sleepy. But no. He sees like 6 people. The Bakugos, Ashido, Kirishima, Kaminari. So, yeah, 6 people right like beside him and the 2 behind him. And he thinks to himself, whoa, wait a minute here. There's 6 people. He calls them family. They don't all look related at all. And he says, you 2, what is your name? And Kaminari says, my name is Denki Kaminari. And what's called Kirishima says, my name is Ijiro Kirishima. And Denki's and All Might's like, wait a minute, you guys aren't even related. How can you guys say family? And Deku says, we all share a bond with one another. What's called? Me and my friends are connected by a close bond that we all had back then in the past. And this is when what's called freaking All Might is like things are close together, not even related, and he says none of them will tell a soul about any secrets unless he tells them so. And he's thinking to himself, young Midoriya, how have you obtained these quirks? There is probably no way that someone can get what's called 6 quirks. I mean, not 6 quirks. Can automatically use 3 quirks in one go. And Deku says, well, these are my quirks. I don't know what to say, but I can only use my quirks as I see fit. And what's called, they say Yeah, he can use quirks, and he's taught us how to use our quirks really well. He even gave us what's called some nifty new toys. And everybody says, Kaminari, why the hell did you have to talk? And what's called Ashido, what's called Saro and Kirishima are looking at him like, oh, you idiot, you idiot. Oh, just die right now. Just kill yourself. Stay in the corner. You stay in the corner. Bad. Bad, Pikachu. Bad. Very bad. Go to your room. You know? And All Might's like, wait a minute. What do you mean, new toys? And Deku says, well, it's not your fault, Kaminari. Sometimes you don't know how to keep your mouth shut. But it's not like anything bad's gonna happen. And Deku says, I have the ability to summon a couple of items or weapons to my choosing. Not only that, I have I have elemental powers as well. These have all been gifts to a certain person. And what's called All Might's thinking to himself, a gift from a certain person? And he says, boy, do you know who All For One is? And sorry, got a burp. And the rest are saying, All For One? Who the heck is All For One? And what's called Izuku's like, no, I don't know who this All For One person is. And he says, I didn't say if you know him. No, wait. He says, it was called, do you know a person named All For One? Deku says, no, I do not. And All Might says, then where did you get this power? And it was called, he says, I cannot tell you, for you cannot go there. No one can go where I can go. That's how it is. That's how it's always been with my power. And All Might's like, well, he didn't do nothing wrong. But I can't let him just go. So he says, listen, young Midoriya. How would you like to spar with me? Which All Might's not going to be he's not going to be a villain, but he doesn't like Deku right now. Not even right now, because he's like, no. This is only one person who can grant what's called powers. And Deku's all like, look, I don't know who this All For One person is. I clearly don't know him, but my master would probably kill him if he were to ever try to harm us. So, yeah. And Deku says, and wait, he says, oh shit. Or if you guys didn't hear me, he'd probably say, oh crap. And All Might says, wait, who is your master? Boy, who is your master? I said. And Deku gets a little mad at this and says, you do not call me boy. Only one person has called me boy before, and you are not him. And All Might's like, I just called him boy. What the heck is he getting mad about? And Deku says, look, I have no time for this. I gotta go home and start cooking dinner. I'm getting hungry myself. And he says, you take care, All Might. And he says, I will be at Dagobah Beach if you want to know. If you want to, what's called, see how strong you are. Well, he doesn't say that. He says, I want to see how strong you are for myself. If you do come, there will be no cameras, nothing there. No tricks, just good old-fashioned fighting. And Deku's all like, well, might as well take him up on his offer. And then Deku says, alright, fine. Tomorrow, Dagobah Beach. Meet me there. If you do if you do trick me and try to attack me with other heroes, you will be sorry. And yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it off. I don't know if I want to do part 5, but I know I want to do what if Naruto was raised by Kakashi, or adopted by Kakashi. So you know what? Like, comment, subscribe, and tell me what you think. All right, and see ya.